Hello, it's Tom from Texas and it's time for another Floppy Deep Dive. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to reconstruct floppies. So taking a D64 files and copy them over to a floppy disk, because a lot of times my floppies, something happened to them back in the 80s or there's some issue with it, and when I'm trying to do a floppy deep dive it no longer works, so I need to reconstruct my floppy so I can have my collection exactly like I want it. So the purpose of this video today is how to reconstruct floppies using Fast Hackem and Ultimate 2 Plus, and recreating your floppies and getting them just like you had them in the 80s. Or if you just want to copy your D64 files over to a floppy disk, how do you do that? This video shows you exactly how to do that and reconstruct a floppy disk. So while I'm doing my floppy deep dives and I'm going through my library and I'm still on case number 1, but sometimes I come across a floppy that does not work. And it's usually not because the floppy's just old and doesn't work. It's usually something that either I did or someone else did that made it no longer continue to work. In this case, my girlfriend at the time spilled something on my floppy disk and tried to clean out the best we could, but some of these floppies got sticky, and now here we are where I thought I cleaned them off 30 years later checking on it, and some of them won't load. So I want to have the original floppies that it just exactly like I had them when I was doing my collecting, because that's the whole purpose, right? I'm playing the floppies that I collected as kids. So what I did is when I come across a floppy that I can just cannot clean, or it's just too far gone, then I reconstruct my floppy. In this video here, I'm going to show you how I reconstruct the floppies so I can put it back into my collection, and it's going to be exactly just like I had it on when I was collecting back in the 80s and downloading from BBSs. Now the difference of what we're going to be doing is I'm still going to be using Fast Hackem, but the other tool I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using my Ultimate 2 Plus, because it just acts as another drive for me, and it can load the D64, well, read the D64 files. So what I do is I go out and I find the programs that I had on my original floppy, and I get the D64 file. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer those D64 files to an actual floppy, because I am not one of the ones who like to use the D64. I like to go old school. It's called Floppy Deep Dive for a reason. I love my floppies. I love the, loading from a floppy. I love using the 1541 to load up the floppy. It's just not the same if I don't do it that way. So that's why I enjoy, recreating it and making it exactly that I do. Not that I don't use the newer technology, because I do believe in, backing up all my floppies to D64s or G64s. But I also want to be able to reconstruct if that floppy does go bad and have a backup of all my floppies. So that's why I do create the D64s using my Zoom floppy and using the Ultimate 2 Plus. And I've already done a video of that, so if you haven't watched that video, you can go ahead and go check that out. So what I'm going to show you today, though, is we're going to go and we're going to show you how I reconstruct my floppies just like I had in the 80s using the D64 files that I get. Now you might ask, where do you get those D64 files? And that's a whole nother video, but I really won't go into that. This is more in using those D64, using an Ultimate 2 Plus, and using my 1541, how I can reconstruct the floppy exactly how I had it in the 80s. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to load up fast Hackem. So I've got to disable fast load because it's not going to work for loading up the fast Hackem. Because it's got a fast loader built into it. And I'm going to select the 2 drives, so I'm just going to select A. And what I want is the file copier, so I'll go into O. And now, put this up. I'm going to take one of my 1041 discs here. And I'm going to swap it around. So I'm going to hit F1 and I'm going to make this here drive 8 as the destination, and my Ultimate 2 Plus is going to be my drive 9. So I'm going to go ahead and format this floppy so that it's ready. And the floppy that I'm recreating is floppy number 75. So I'm just going to give it ID 75. And I'm going to format right here. And let's do a quick directory. And as you can see, it's been formatted and it's ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the files that I'm missing over here on this floppy over to this new floppy. So what I got to do is I'm going to mount those files now on my Ultimate 2 Plus. So when I go in here, I'm going to look for Magic Carpet, and hopefully I downloaded it and transferred it over here. Let's get to the M's. So here's Magic Carpet D64. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to mount that disk onto drive 9, which is my Ultimate 2 Plus. And now I'm going to actually make a copy of that. So I'm going to hit C to copy the files, and it's going to bring up all the different files that are tied to Magic Carpet. This one just happens to have the one. So I'm going to hit space to toggle the name to copy it over. And then I'm just going to hit return to begin the job. Yes. And we've got our floppy already in there. And so now that's complete there. So we'll hit spacebar there, and we could go ahead and look at the directory. And there now I have Magic Carpet on here. So that's just one of the files. Another one of the files on here is Flyer Fox. So now I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to go to, hopefully I have Flyer Fox, and I do. It's Flyer Fox is right there. So I'll hit that and I'll mount that on there. And now I'm going to copy that one. And it has 2 files, so I'm just going to toggle all the names and hit return to begin the job. Now it's copying over to my 1541, this floppy that I already had in here. Okay, now both files have been copied over. Again, let's look at the directory. You can see on the directory now I got Magic Carpet and Flyer Fox. So another one that I had on here, this floppy that got destroyed, is Neutral Zone. So now I'm going to go back into my Ultimate 2. And I'm going to go down to the ends. Jump too fast. I'm going to go up here to Neutral Zone. I'm going to mount it. And then I'm going to copy it. Again, I'm going to hit space to toggle all the names. Oh, I'm sorry, hit T to toggle all the names. Let's make sure we got this one this time. Yeah. Toggle all the names. I'm going to hit return and begin. Again, just copying over the D64 files over to my to an original floppy, so I have it on floppy also. So now we do another directory of this floppy that I'm reconstructing. There you go. I got my magic carpet, my flower fox, and my neutral zone on there. And again, it's just the same thing over and over, selecting your D64 files that you had before. Well, that I had before on there. So the other thing, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do Turmoil. I'm going to mount that. And we'll copy this last thing over onto the floppy. Let me select Turmoil. And it's a pretty small file, so it'll copy over pretty quick. I think it's like 30 something blocks. All right, and so now that we got that copied over to the disk 2, let's do a directory. And you can see now here's everything. We recreated the floppy. So now let's go ahead and let's try these out and see, show you that the D64 files did copy over okay. We're going to load up Magic Carpet and check it out and make sure that these files actually works, transferring it from the Ultimate 2 Plus over to the 1541. And there you go. And here's Magic Carpet. As you can see, that worked just fine. So now let's go ahead and load up Neutral Zone. And again, starts loading up. Here's the title menu. Everything seems to be working fine. So what we wanted to accomplish, we did accomplish. We copied over D64 files, and I reconstructed the floppy to have the same files with the same games that I had back in the 80s. So I could put this back into my collection in case one, and anytime I come across anything else that either got sticky or broken, or the floppy for some whatever reason doesn't work anymore, now I can just use it, and now I have it on floppy again to be able to load it back up. And there you go. So it's just that simple to be able to create those D64 files and put them back over to a floppy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned how to now copy your D64 files over to the floppy so you can load it the old school way and load your floppies up using the floppy and using your 1541, 1571, and basically do it like we did in the 80s. So if you like this video, please subscribe, and thanks for watching another Floppy Deep Dive.